You are listening to KC Sports Network, the #1 podcast network for today's Kansas City sports fans. With former players from your favorite teams, informed perspectives, and former insiders, this is the place for you. KC Sports Network is proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the KCSN Defensive Breakdown, brought to you by Derrick Johnson's Defend the Dream Foundation. I am joined, as always, by my pals, Mike DeVito, Derrick Johnson. Chiefs coming off of a victory over the Raiders. It was a tough one, but one that you got done. I mean, obviously, you guys know how this goes. Divisional games, Monday nights, they're tough. I mean, general thoughts. Let's start with you, DJ. What were your general thoughts about the game on Monday?
Well, I knew it was going to be a nail biter at the end of the day, even though, on paper, we're a better team. We've been playing better than the Raiders, but it's division. It's just how it is. It's a big-time rivalry, long-standing tradition. And I tell you what, we lived up to the hype. We lived up to the game. We lived up to the rivalry. We started out a lot slower than we ever expected being at home, but at the same time, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And we're finishing pretty good. So I was very, very pleased with us coming back. And sometimes you need, not all the time, you need tough games like this so you can say, hey, you know, we don't blink when something happens bad. We can still pull this out.
Yeah, DJ, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was talking to Craig before we hopped on, and I was thinking, you know, the silver lining in this game is that, you know, the amount of confidence you get from being able to come back from down 17 points and win that game. Yep. Like, having some of those is actually better than beating everybody by 30 points, because now, you know, like, you have so much confidence that, like, because what kills teams is they get down and just that mental switch flips, like, here we go. We're not going to be able to get back from this. When able to come back from 17 down, you know, that deficit is huge. And that's why when you go back to that Super Bowl winning year, you know, I think that, you know, that's what carried them through the playoffs, is they knew, like, we could be down, but that year they were down 40. I don't remember what they were down, but it was like nuts. So I totally agree with DJ. I think that I like it that game was close, that we came back. I think that's going to pay dividend just for the mental aspect of the game moving forward.
Yep. All right, let's dive into it. We're going to start here with the thing that the Raiders kind of did the most when we were watching this game here. Lots of 6 offensive line sets, and this is with a fullback in the backfield. So this is 20 personnel. You guys kind of treat it like 21 personnel, but they did a lot of this, a lot of pulling guards for power, a lot of, you know, ISO looks and stuff like that. Like, this is stuff from, you know, when you guys were starting, like in the NFL, there was still a lot of heavy personnel, a lot of heavier sets and things like that. Obviously, it's progressed more to nickel looks. What's your first reaction when you guys see something like this? Lots of offensive line, especially as often as the Raiders used it on Sunday or on Monday.
You mind if I start, DJ?
No, you got it.
Well, you know this too. This is key. And when I'm wondering, you can't tell looking at this, but you need to know who the tight end is, right? Because I'm wondering, I don't know who the right tackle is, if that guy checked in or what. But if sometimes what they'll do is they'll go in these heavy sets. That right tackle will be the tight end. And so you have an extra tackle, but it's actually tackle over. Yep. So it's tight end, guard, center, guard, tackle. And now not only do you have an extra lineman, but it changes everything. You have to switch the front. Looks like these guys are just in a regular over front. But but if this was under, I guess this would be the formation if this was tackle over, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I could be overthinking it, but here, the thing the point is this. That extra tackle presents 2 problems. One, now obviously you have an extra tackle, so they're more loaded up in the run game. But 2, they can do this weird stuff with who's the tight end, who's the tackle, and how you have to align the front given how they line up. Because if the right tackle is actually the tight end, you have to treat the formation totally differently than if the extra tackle is now the tight end on the left side.
No, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
You know, to some people that may sound like what you're talking about, but I get exactly it actually poses a lot of problems at the end of the day when you put an extra tackle in the game, or you just go tackle over. Really poses a lot of
That's
problems.
what it is.
this is actually easier right now, just bringing in an extra tackle for a tight end. And as we know, it's definitely going to be a run. And we know about this set right here. Whenever the safety is down to the left, I mean, mentally, we all know the ball is going away from the safety. That's just automatic right now. So now you can bowl over a little bit, not too much, but tell the guys, hey, gear up, here we come. And a lot of these times it's a front side lead or some kind of stretch to the right side, or especially with this extra tackle in the game, it's probably some kind of power, and that's what they're running here. And all it is no fair dodging. Here we come. I kind of like it, because I come from this era when you put this in, and it kind of makes it easy. There's no RPO, none of that little cute stuff. It's no fair dodging. Let's come downhill, and we won on this one.
And here's it. And also I want to bring up, just to shout out DJ, something that Derrick did that a lot of other linebackers don't do, is he would alert us to where the safety was. So like as a defensive lineman, it's like the last thing you're worried about is where the secondary is aligned. But I remembered
down left.
Down left. That is so incredibly helpful, because now you can basically adjust your run percentages to 80-20 away from the down guy. So like the second he says down left, and I'm Chris Jones here in this 3 technique, and I have an extra tackle at tight end and the tilt's my way. So I have the fullback towards me. I'm not stepping down at all. Now, Chris Jones is an animal. So, but I would have went right into 74. I wouldn't even have messed with the guard at all, because let them try to run that way. I'm going directly into 74. I'm almost stepping into him.
And I think that's the thing that some people don't understand, how much of a connection there is there, not just between like the linebackers and the safeties there. Obviously, there's a connection. Everybody kind of can see that on the field, but how that filters down to the defensive line, gap control, and things like that, like that is so important. And so, yeah, knowing that, DJ's out there calling it out, I'm sure Nick is out there calling it out as well. Like that's a major part of this, to help these guys to fill gaps appropriately here. Now, I want to highlight here, basically, the linebackers do a great job here. Leo stepping into the gap, meeting the fullback in the gap, kind of helping shed that. But it really is Nick Bolton making this play here, dipping under the pulling guard, seeing the pulling guard coming out here. Nick is able to dip under here. DJ, you used to do this all the time. I mean,
Absolutely. Well, the key to this right here is stack the double team right now. Where's the double team? 3 technique right now. And guess what? If you stack the double team, that pulling guard is going to find you right now, and he's going to be up under it. And he's. I mean, by the way, he made so many plays in this game. It's some plays where hopefully we'll show him today. But Nick is off to a great start. But I want to allude to Harris on the end down here, when he's playing really the kind of like the down left safety kind of spot, but he's on the edge. So George is kind of going into the B gap, slamming down. I forgot the technique that they would call it, but I tell you what, man, him coming off the edge, the ball is going away from him, and I'm glad that 47 Harris did not wait. He knows, hey, they're not going to trick you on it. There's no bootleg and nothing like this. Not with an extra lineman in the game. Go get the running back, and this was heads up play by the Chiefs.
DJ, did you play with Kelly Gregg out there?
Absolutely.
Oh, so C56 here. So Kelly Gregg was a master at this. So you said he's coming down. He's got the puller. Now watch, if you play it, Craig, right here, he knows he's got the safety outside of him. He can flow as he starts getting more used to this defense, he'll figure this out. He can actually flow right behind Chris and 91. It's all jammed up in there. Kelly Gregg used to have 100 tackles a year, and 90 of them were him realizing that there was everything was bundled up, and he would just flow all the way to the other side with the backers and make this play. And so 56 could do the same thing. Watch, if you keep going. Right there, he can just keep going across those guys and make that play.
But what Mike is talking about, that's a linebacker mentality. Actually, I do that from time to time. Let's say I have my gap, and my gap is kind of muddied up, because a lot of times things happen in the game where you say, "Oh, well, I got the A gap, but the A gap's not there," and I know the running back's not running through that. whatever that is. So you kind of track them. And I mean, it's that's a great mind. I didn't know you had that mindset, Mike.
Well, I didn't. I was too nervous to ever leave my area, but good players did. Look at 91. I wonder if he did it here. If you go back,
let's back it up here. Yeah.
I wonder if this was called or if he saw. Oh, he's jamming. I wonder if because he sort of naturally does it.
They already know the play. By the way,
yeah,
they already know the play.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah, because he's right. Look at it, he's right there. Yeah. But this is good. He sees Chris and he keeps flowing around Chris, so they just replace each other. That's what's beautiful about a front that's on a defensive line that's on the same page too. Is if Chris gets knocked out of there a little bit, he knows, okay, my guys are covering for me. I can just stay, I can just stay in press, and 91's going to fill behind, and you just switch. And it really, I mean, I don't know if it was called or what, but this turned out great from them doing that, and then obviously the backer play.
Yep. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, let's go to the next play here. What we got on this particular play, once again, you see the extra offensive lineman in the game here. This one's not an offset eye. It's more of a, traditional eye formation here, running up the gut. And we're going to highlight Colin Saunders, who is just on an absolute heater in this game. This is how you can beat some of these heavy sets, by having these guys penetrate quickly and handle one-on-ones when they see them. And you're going to see 99 here just do an excellent job of holding his own and dominating this play, really.
Let me see.
Oh, man.
Wow, what's so funny is he doesn't start off well unless he's supposed to do that. I don't know what he's supposed to do.
I was just about to do that.
But he's just so dominant that he could do, you don't want to step unless I don't know the defense, unless he's supposed to be doing that. You don't want to run down in there, but he's so strong and he's penetrating, he's knocking his guy back, and he does a great job releasing off his guy. He just throws his guy out the way and he's right there. I mean, that's just mauling a guy. I mean, you're right. That's totally dominant. I'm trying to tell if he took that step on purpose. It almost looked like he wanted to do that.
He definitely takes that step inside first. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you do that, like Mike is saying, because if Mike is out there, I'm expecting Mike to go into that tackle, just take 72 and just help out a little bit, and then eventually he'll come off. But when you do this, you do need to make the play, which is hard to make the play, but did make it. And man, I'll be, like I said, the one jumping on his back, let's go.
That's right. Eye backs is hard because you don't have a tell, right? So as a defensive lineman, I'm really slow on that guard, right? So I need to diagnose, okay, because I can get anything here. I can get a double. I could get a back from the center and him pulling some sort of open side run. I could get a scoop block, and so everything's live here. So I'm really slow to take any sort of hard steps in an I formation unless I have some sort of tell from the scouting report. Sorry, DJ. I'm
actually a better concept offensively than the last play, I would say. Just if I'm Nick, I'm like, they could run lead weak or they could lead strong. I don't know. That now that cuts me down a little bit. I'm not as quick. Of course, I'm react quick, but I don't know the play. I know it's going to be a run, but again, we win when you're one-on-one matchups at the end of the day, when you have them, and Sanders does a great job at it.
Yeah. This is hard.
Raiders definitely did a good job of mixing it up a little bit from these I formations. You see a lot of combo blocks on the interior. Occasionally when the Chiefs would go to an under front, you'd have that, that defensive end that was lined up more as a 5-tech. And then all of a sudden you'd have that extra offensive lineman kicking them out a little bit. They just made it really tough running an assortment of stuff out of this I formation with this 20 personnel. Just really tough. It's not something you see very much in the NFL these days, and it definitely caught the Chiefs off guard. But these are some plays where they've done a really good job defending it.
It may be a little not confusing for the younger guys, just because they don't know this game. This game right here is different kind of old school game. Being DeVito was in here. We like, oh, we looking at top.
Jump. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
what New England with Tom Brady in his prime used to run
And
stuff
I mean,
like that.
and again, Josh McDaniels. I mean, coming
Yeah.
over, bringing that same concept over there. I mean, it's exactly what you're seeing. Yeah, you two are sitting there going, "Yeah, this is exactly what you got to do." But guy like Colin Saunders, guys like Leo Chanel, probably not seeing a ton of this that they have in their career.
That's a great point, DJ. You remember in 2013, Chip Kelly brought that. And I feel like it started with him. It might have been before, but that's when you had all the zone read stuff coming.
Yeah,
we were like, "What the hell is this?" Like, what's that?
When we played against Philly?
Yeah, remember we played against Philly and they had that zone read.
But man, and that's crazy. You bring it up, Mike. During that week, I get a headache thinking about that because it's so much. And don't get me wrong, it's all good. It's cute at times and it does work. But older guys like ourselves, we're like, man, this is college. This is a whole nother life. Like,
right.
I mean, it's option football, right? Do your job, can't really, come out of it and flow. Especially for me, it's real hard because I like to flow and do my thing. But it's like, hey, you got the quarterback or you got the dive. You got to, everybody's got to be on the same page. So it's not a lot of room for you to roam.
Exactly, and it's hard when you've done 6, 7, 8 years in the NFL and you haven't seen anything like that. And now all of a sudden, that's what people are doing. It's like I know exactly what you're saying with these guys. Same thing. They're used to the opposite. They're probably fine with zone read, but the second you bring another tackle in, you're like, "Whoa, what is this?" Welcome to 2007.
What are we doing here? Exactly.
Bring the slow guy back, man. Let me get in there and held up a double team.
All right, we got another one here. Once again, we're coming out of some heavy personnel this time. Another I formation look here, and you're going to see the Chiefs are going to run blitz this here. This is highlighting an excellent job by Nick Bolton reading through the trash here. This is a lot to put on his plate, reading this out. He does a good job keeping eyes on Josh Jacobs. I mean, DJ, this is just textbook Mike linebacker play, picking up this guy out of the backfield.
Absolutely. He had so many plays during this game. I mean, he just, as far as eyes, feet, and being able to finish and tackle, he's really a really, really good tackler. I mean, I haven't said that much, but because we praise him on a lot of other things he does, being a young guy in this game early in his career. But I tell you what, he's a really, really good tackler. And I was at the game, and there were a couple of times, not even about this play, there was a couple of times where it was an open field tackle, and it wasn't a smash hit, but it was one of those things where being a football player, professional football player, you say, "Ooh, that's a hard tackle right there for you to make a play in space like that," and he does it a lot. So, man, this is just being poised and not overreacting, knowing your ability and being able to play within the scheme, and then go fire your gun. And he does the best at it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had something else to add, but this, I mean, just it looks like DJ. We keep saying this. I mean, these, obviously these guys aren't 5'6", but for them to be playing this well is at the age that they're at. We say it every time. I mean, it's really incredible. And you got to give Spags, I mean, hat off to him and his group. I mean, these guys don't just come in and they're, automatically like this. The NFL defensive game is technical and complex and fast. And I would not, playing defensive line is one thing. Being those, those quarterbacks on defense at linebacker, that's hard as hell. And so what these kids have done what these guys have done in 1 or 2 years, being in this defense. I mean, hats off to them. Hats off to Spags in that group. That takes really good coaching.
That is true. I'll add to that, Mike. Like, we don't give the coaches enough credit. Don't get me wrong. I'm a player-driven team, but especially on success, when they have success. But I'll tell you what, man, the coaches, they got them. They have them ready. Spags is doing a good job with these young guys. There's a couple guys that's out there making plays. I'm kind of writing his number down. Like, oh, who is this guy? Who is that guy? This is, of course, not Nick. Nick's been doing it for a couple of years. But if you say he's not 5'6", but give another, 8 to 10 years. I mean, this is like this. I mean, we'll be looking at me second place.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's a long road.
We'll get there. Those are good problems to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are good problems to have. All right, moving on here. This is a big play for the Chiefs defense. And I mean, I think we all remember this one going down, but I wanted to kind of highlight some of the things that happened before Chris's sack here that wasn't a sack. And I want to highlight it kind of from the wide view here. You're going to see some communication. Juan Thornhill, 22 in the backfield here, communicating with Jalen Watson a little bit here and communicating with L'Jarius Sneed. They do a good job of talking here, getting things sorted up. And there's very clearly an effort to defend the sticks. You're going to see Juan Thornhill aggressively drive on this drag route here. But I want to highlight how important Chris getting this hit he is here, because there's a dude that's open over the top. Like there's a guy that is open over the top there that Derek Carr is definitely loading up to hit. And you got Chris Jones just in the backfield wrecking havoc here and creating that. So I mean, a good job by Juan to take away that drag there that Derek Carr certainly would have tried to target a little bit early, but it kind of shows what some of the could happen things happen on any given play here. And obviously Chris is just absolutely dominant.
Before we talk about big let's just talk about the fact that the best way to cover somebody is having a quarterback on the ground. I mean, rush for and get there, man. That's the good life. It really is. If you can get the quarterback off his spot and get him on the ground, they can beat you all day in the back end, but the ball never gets off. So affecting the quarterback is always big time key. And for Chris Jones to be on the outside, he's a defensive tackle. He's not a defensive end, which I think whole nother ball game. You got to be quicker, faster. I mean, you got to get to the speed, power to flip and all that stuff. And he's just running through these guys like water on the outside. He's not supposed to do that. I'm just telling you, he's not supposed to do that. That recovery. I mean, this kind of ends the game. Really, this kind of like puts it on our back and we go home early. But for them, that's a whole nother thing talking about the quarterback passer deal. But I tell you what, the guy was open, and that happens at times. Everybody's not covered. That's why it's better to be lucky than good any day. But it's one of those things where the DBs in the meeting room, I'm sure today or after the game, they were like, man, they giving him high fives and everything. And there are times where it's reversed, right, Mike? You see that where the defensive line's not getting there, and we're covering in the back end, and you're going on your third and fourth move, and then you get the quarterback down. Then it's a cover sack. But on this play, it's all about Chris Jones.
Yeah. When I'm in there rushing, boy, your coverage, you better have Revis and Flowers and Eric Berry, everybody back there. So watch Chris. So DJ said it. I mean, just the technique out there at a wide nine. I remember there were a few times I used to have to line up this wide, given whatever defense we were in. We should find those, Craig, because you can juxtapose the two, because it's ugly. But watch his rush. So it's constantly a hand battle out there, right? A lot of time it's constantly a hand battle. And what you see Chris does is he gives his hands to force the tackle to shoot his, and then the second the tackle shoots, he takes one away and he slaps the other one out, and you have this little slap rip, and he's through. And listen, doing that at a 3 technique is a whole different deal than doing it at a wide 9. There's a lot of space. It's a whole nother ball game. Things don't time. So what Chris is normally doing is those move, like all of this is timing for a defensive lineman with your hands. And when you're inside on the 3 technique or up on the center, that stuff's happening. Boom, right away. Boom. Out here, it's 1, 2, 3 steps. Then you throw. Then you got to work your hand. So but it seems like if you look at Chris, if you look at his get off, which is also difficult from out there, and the hand movement, it's like he's been out there his whole life. So, and then with the foul, I mean, with the penalty, I think, Jeff Allen brought this up, and DJ, you were at the game. You would know better than any of us. I think this actually ended up, and Jeff said this, that this actually worked in Kansas City's favor, because they were so pissed off that this happened. And Andy Reid's going nuts. Mahomes is going nuts. And it just sort of brought this, breathed this fire onto this team that had started, fell asleep a little bit. I think ultimately this ended up sort of paradoxically being a good thing. But I don't know I don't think that I said this in the other show. I don't think the NFL is going to change this. I think they love this. I think they love that the quarterback is so protected, because that's the moneymaker, right? Everybody's tuning in to watch teams score a ton of points, and if you're on your second and third string quarterback, that isn't going to get done. But this
But
is
what I do think they should do is have it reviewable.
that's such a great.
Yeah, if they have it reviewable, now you get to I think you're right, Mike. It's just the quarterback's the guy. They're going to protect them. It is what it is. But they have to start reviewing because some of them are just like this. This is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. It's not.
I know with Rex Ryan, Chris would have gotten a minus on this play because he didn't slam him hard enough. Like you could see Chris intentionally doesn't go hard. And Rex would have been like, no, that's a minus. You have to crush him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just amazing how things have changed. Yeah.
I mean, it's a penalty for hitting too hard now. All right, that's what it feels like. I mean, we've seen them. We've seen lots of them, unfortunately, in Chiefs history. DJ, unfortunately, was on the end of one of them himself, in a playoff game. It just brutal calls. They got to do something about this. Can't play defense like this. Can't hit the quarterback like this. It's just it's wrong, man. All right, we're gonna highlight what ends up being the difference in the game. This is a 2-point conversion right at the end of the game, fourth quarter. The Chiefs are up 1 at this point. Raiders are trying to go ahead, and you're going to see exceptional run defense here, good team run defense, and we're going to start with the wide view here because you can kind of see the way that everything is spread out. They're in 11 personnel now. They didn't go heavy, and this ref saw it all the way through the play, but let's show this front here, and Chris Jones dominating his one-on-one. Colin Saunders.
I can't believe they're running a run play in the middle to get 1 yard, and you put one-on-one on Chris Jones. You have one.
Yeah, go with that. Lead with that. Let's talk about that.
Well, I mean, he plays it perfectly,
right?
But why would you run that? Why would you run that play with Chris? You know where your three tech's gonna. You know where the three technique's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe they didn't. I would have checked right out of that. You're saying, damn, we're running. Well, I guess what are they trying to run there, DJ? Into the out to the right side B gap? Is that where that's trying to go?
It's kind of like a belly open, but it's not a good play. It's not a good play because you our best player on defense is right there. It's like
one-on-one on the best player.
And and our front, I mean, we have DBs. It's a downright call. So, I mean, you got DBs. They don't have enough to block us. And honestly, we didn't protect the A gap like we should from Nick and from Harris right there. Harris needs to stay. 47 needs to stay in that A gap. Stay in there. Don't come out.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah,
who got it, Chris?
But Chris,
Chris actually catches him with his arm there. Yeah,
it's just
So look at 99. I'm glad you highlighted him. This is a hard place to play a double team because it's just a weird spot. Like he's in that 2-eye, and it just now becomes a little bit weird on who's your point man, who you're hipping into, how you're playing it. So I like what he did. The center was off the ball first, and instead of like technically, if you go back to the start, Craig, with his hand down, I just want to see where he is. Technically, it looks like he's in a 2-eye. So technically, his point man, like where you're gonna play into the guard and hip into the center. But the way he given his alignment, but the way he plays it, the center comes off quick. So boom, he's right back and he hips into the guard. Man, and that's just an excellent technical change right in the moment. And again, that's a hard place to play a double team. A 2-eye it's just weird because the center is so much further up than the guard. And it just plays out differently with the timing. And he does an excellent job.
I think the guard. I'm thinking defensively where we can get better at. Usually that guard that's taking on that double team right there, that guard would just hit and then go up to
right.
I mean, that would have really, that would have made even more space for Chris to make that tackle even harder. But at the end of the day, man, I tell you what, man, it's just when you're one-on-one. If you got a one-on-one, kick his tail, and that's what we're doing.
And highlighting Justin Reed here. Filling this guy. I mean, there's acres of space over there, and you can see Josh Jacobs when he gets this ball. Like his eyes they're on Justin Reed. So the fact that he quick fills this makes Jacob turn it back in. You know, he's seeing that A gap, he's seeing that combo block, he's trying to come off of the backside there. So that's the reason why it turns in there. And then Chris Jones just being stronger. I mean, that's all it is right there, man. So
you can't one-on-one Chris Jones as a 3 technique and try to run any kind of inside run. Yeah, it's just not. But listen, hats off to the Raiders. Like, as much as I hate to say it, can't stand the Raiders, but like the Chiefs are rallying back. That's how you're going to beat them. You got to go for 2. Like you can't play to tie going to overtime. They're going to win. They're on fire. So like, good for you. You owned it and you went for it. Screw it. Like, I like that.
Another divisional win for us, man. This was awesome. On to the next.
Yeah, absolutely. Big one coming up this week. We will be back next week breaking down hopefully what turns into not an offensive showdown. I want some defensive clips for next week against the Buffalo Bills. Mike, DJ, thank you so much, as we do every week, for joining us. Like, share, subscribe. Click the link down there for Derrick Johnson's Defend the Dream Foundation. And we thank you all for tuning in. Be kind to each other. We'll catch you later.